This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
The Special Economic Zone Summit launched in Port Moresby. National Housing Corporation staff locked out as leadership tussle continues. And NCDC closed popular Tabari Handicrafts Market. A very good evening. This is National EMTV News. I'm Godwin Eki. Thank you for joining us. The Special Economic Zone Summit saw its launching last night at the Stanley Hotel in Port Moresby, witnessed by the Diplomatic Corps, international delegates, members of the Parliament and the media. Keynote speaker on the night was Prime Minister James Marape, who spoke highly of the country's vast natural resources, from non-renewable to renewable resources, and stating that the country's economic growth over the last 4 years has risen. The launch of the first ever Special Economic Zone Summit took place last night in Port Moresby, where Prime Minister James Marape and other delegates were given a traditional welcome by the traditional landowners. On behalf of the Department of International Trade and Investment, a welcome speech was given by the Acting Secretary Jacinta Warakai Manua.
We thank you all for being here. Your presence in this special occasion signifies the importance of the government's agenda of growing our economy through Special Economic Zone.
Furthermore, as Minister in charge for International Trade and Investment, Richard Maru, also took time to thank all those who attended the first ever SEZ Summit launch.
It is time we took a good stocktake of ourselves and why we have failed. And why is that important? Because the rest of the world have succeeded in using SEZ as a vehicle to transform the economies and create millions of jobs and bringing in billions and trillions of foreign direct investments, and they've done extremely well and transformed the nations from poor third world nations into industrialized nations today. Because we have more potential than most of them. We have much more fertile land. We have the resources. We have 22% of the world's tuna. We have the logs. We have the forestry. And yet we have failed.
Minister Maru went on to talk more about the country's high unemployment rate and the many issues regular Papua New Guineans are faced with in the country.
We have over-relied on the mining and petroleum sector, and look at where it's left us after 48 years. Highest unemployment, highest national debt, highest level of deficit. Greatest level of problems is US dollars. We can't find the US dollar. We are still rationing with 8 resource projects today. Prime Minister and my colleagues in Parliament, no responsible government will continue to do the same thing and expect a different result.
According to Prime Minister James Marape, the keynote speaker on the night stated that since taking office as Prime Minister, the country was a 79.6 billion kina economy, and after 4 years, the economy rose to 113 billion kina economy, which is a growth of 33 billion kina, using budget deficit as a tool to transform wealth to Papua New Guineans.
And I want to thank all existing companies in our country. All of you are here today. Thank you for your continual presence in our country. You're already here. Partner us and move into this space. Key government policies in the downstream sector, key government policies in the SEZ that we will be unraveling and working towards and giving incentives. I want you who are already tax-paying businesses in our country, pick up those incentives, pick up those concessions, and work with us.
Meanwhile, day one of the International Special Economic Zone Summit started today at the Stanley Hotel in Port Moresby. Delegates and members of Parliament witnessed discussions on the issue of land and landowners living in the PNG Special Economic Zones.
Try to optimize and look at the infrastructure in a way.
A huge turn-up today to hear the discussions on special economic zones in Papua New Guinea and list of queries that concern the facilitation of special economic zones. Definition and global review of the special economic zones was conducted, including global experience of SEZ development and financing of SEZs was discussed. The main concern raised was the type of land identified as special economic zones in the country. India PwC Leader Industrial Development and Investment Promotion, Dr. Mohamed Athar, spoke on the industrial corridor in India and how they have adopted the land pooling scheme to implement successful special economic zones.
In our country, in India, there is a concept called industrial corridors, which is emerging. So here we are talking about specific special economic zones. Industrial corridor is something which is like, you can imagine 50 special economic zone within one corridor. And it also has those transport spines and multiple other components. Now, one of the key challenges which the government was facing was exactly this, which is land acquisition, because government in most cases, they are not having those large chunks of land. So one of the states in India, it's Gujarat, they first came up with something called a land pooling scheme.
Minister for International Trade and Investment Richard Marrow spoke on the PNG context of SEZ, which includes land mobilization for SEZs.
I am saying if we are going to succeed with the SEZ agenda, we must unlock millions of hectares of land in this country. Customary landowners must feel, now be ready to give him ground, because I'm my owner. I will benefit big time from the use of my land. That's how we mobilize land from landowners. Right now, they are going to lose. If the state is going to pay, very low ground and got a big plot, the state can't afford to pay. That's the reality. State can afford to pay. So we're going to have to decide at the end of this summit some serious recommendations to government after the Deputy Prime Minister can make a presentation. How do we unlock land? We cannot talk about ILGs anymore. We must go from national ID, ILG, and go straight to state title.
Minister Marrow further emphasized,
we must unlock customary land and give landowners in hydro areas, in agriculture areas, in forestry areas. You must give more, far more benefits, more equitable to what mining and petroleum landowners get. That's the thinking now.
Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
The National Housing Corporation headquarters in Port Moresby is under siege with a leadership tussle between former employee of NHC and acting Managing Director Elizabeth Bowada and current NHC Managing Director Henry Mokono. According to a press release from NHC, Ms. Elizabeth Bowada claimed she received orders by the court that reinstated her to the position of acting Managing Director, which prompted her with assistance from policemen and supporters to storm the NHC headquarters at New Horizons building at ATS block opposite Jackson's International Airport last week.
These were the scenes this morning at the New Horizons office in Port Moresby. National Housing Corporation staff locked out of their offices. The scenes this morning follow a separate incident which occurred before the weekend, where Miss Elizabeth Bowada forced handing over of the keys to the office of the NHC MD to her when the incumbent Mr. Henry Mokono was yet to arrive for work that day. The statement goes on to report that several NHC staff that were there were threatened as she addressed an almost empty conference room about the court's ruling on a judicial review, which she took against the State Public Service Commission, Department of Personal Management, National Housing Corporation, and the incumbent MD, Henry Joseph Mokono. Bowada was arguing in court that under the Regulatory Statutory Act, the NHC board was ignored and was not consulted in the appointment process of Mr. Mokono. Hence, the process was void. In a stiff objection to Bowada's interpretation of the court's ruling, Mr. McConnell said the court never gave specific orders that reinstated Bowada to her acting position. The court only ruled that appointment of incumbent MD, Mr. McConnell, had not followed proper process. Mr. McConnell said that his lawyers were already in court and appealing the ruling of Deputy Chief Justice Amben Kandakasi, as well as seeking further clarifications on his April 28, 2020 ruling on Bowada's judicial review. Mr. McConnell further stated that the status quo within the NHC management shall remain as it is until the appeals court deliberate on the application by McConnell's legal team. At this juncture, Mr. McConnell is appealing to the police hierarchy within the NCD Metropolitan Command to issue instructions to the men to stand down and not to take sides and disrupt normal operations of the NHC and protect state institutions and public servants. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
The EU is home to around 447 million people, which is around 6% of the world's population. The European Union has a unique partnership between 27 European countries known as member states. Tomorrow, these member states will celebrate Europe Day as one, which is held annually on 9th of May. EU Day celebrates peace and unity in Europe. The date marks the anniversary of the Schuman Declaration that set out his idea for a new form of political cooperation in Europe, which would make war between Europe's nations unthinkable.
We put them and embed them, they work with you.
With the aim of ending the frequent and bloody conflicts that culminated in the First and Second World Wars, European politicians began the process of building what we know today as the European Union. The European Coal and Steel Community, founded in 1951, was the first step in securing a lasting peace.
The European Day is not a date by chance, it's a date which was chosen after the celebration of the 5th anniversary of the Second World War II. And that day, Mr. Schuman, which was the French Foreign Minister at this time, decided that no war, not any more war in Europe, and that something had to be done in order to bring member states together. So he had the idea to create what was a cooperation on steel and coal, and this was the founding act for the creation of the European Union.
The ambassador for the European Union, Jacques Faradin, put into context the significance of European Union Day.
Today, in Papua New Guinea, you have one member state which is represented, France, and you have 22 member states which are non-resident and who are in Australia, in Canberra. I thank the government for bringing those member states ambassadors here in order to better understand what Papua New Guinea is about and also to understand what is the big value of acting in Papua New Guinea.
His Excellency Mr. Faradin also spoke on the endless 15-month ongoing Russia-Ukraine war and how it is affecting not only the European Union but the global economy.
The Russian aggression against Ukraine has strained a relationship between big powers and has created fault lines. So the spirit of Schuman bringing peace and solidarity among nations is still valid. And I thank the government of Papua New Guinea to be on the same page as the European Union when it comes to condemn this Russian aggression.
The European Union is one of the country's biggest donors, with projects worth over 250 million kina. It also currently has 35 ongoing projects in the country. As a mark of celebration, the day will be celebrated with various programs, one of which is the sponsorship of the European Union to the amazing work UNODC is doing under the PNG Anti-Corruption Project, especially with the key agencies in the criminal justice space. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
Over 300 craft sellers in Port Moresby are in dire need of proper marketplace to sell their handiworks. The current marketplace at 4 Mile in the nation's capital has been closed for NCDC management team to construct a new market facility.
The marketplace, located in 4 Mile and currently used by the craft sellers, have been asked by NCDC to leave and market their products elsewhere while a new market facility will be built in the area. Meanwhile, sellers who have been marketing their handiworks have expressed that they were not given ample time to move, adding their means of earning income has been cut down due to no customers. They expressed that since last Friday, they were moved to one of the little marketplace in Boroko that had been used before. MTV News was at the scene and witnessed the sellers had no customers at all. Sellers say this has affected them, even some had no bus fares to return home. Sellers here expressed that this marketplace is limited and they cannot make it to help sustain their livelihood. Spokesperson Tapson Te says they should have been located to a proper place for them to do sales.
Market and space no market no. All can find one location na. People can stop in the market. Big plus space and people can market and stop. Then all can develop this place or all can make him that's all. People no have space no market.
Another concerned seller, Masalina Paya, expressed that the issue should have been addressed properly so that their means of earning an income is not affected.
We only made me no space and pull up. Ose na ose Monday mi blakan na mi blarem top blow na mi blala go inside back. Mi play no space pull up so mi blasta ba chain law. Prop market again.
Sellers expressed that they need a proper place where they can sell the product. NCDC management team is aware of this issue, adding the craft marketplace at 4 Mile has been closed and for maintenance work to be done to establish a proper market facility in Boroko. Jin John, National MTV News.
National MTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National MTV News. Jacks of PNG under the Design PNG competition have announced 3 winners for the competition earlier today in Port Moresby.
PNG is known for its diversity in culture and traditions that can be exposed to the outside world through various means, even through fashion. Jacks of PNG, one of the recognized retail outlet in the country, over the years has created an avenue for the local artists to showcase their talents using the PNG design competition as a platform to showcasing their talents. Today, Jacks of PNG announced 3 lucky winners. Jax Lamy from Eastern Islands, Andy Rambuli from Southern Islands, and Ben Jawai from East New Britain Province have walked away with 2,000 kina.
We would like to once again acknowledge and thank all the participants who did not win. We appreciate the effort and time that you have invested in this competition and hope that you will continue to pursue your passion for design.
Subsequently, arrangements with Jacks will be made with the 3 winners to get exclusive permits to the production and sales of the design under the Design PNG trademark that includes royalty payments.
The winners will be entitled to receive royalty payments as per the agreement. For those participants who did not win the competition, we will retain their designs to them, or they can choose to have them destroyed in presence of us, independent police officers.
CEO Mr. Navin Raju further explained how the royalty payment will be given to the winning designers as done since 2020.
We have paid a total of 48,000 in royalty payments to date to our winners. That is on top of the 2,000 price that we are paying to each of the winners. 3 out of the 5 winners of the 2021 competition has been selected for the reproduction of their merchandise, and they will receive a total royalty of 12,000. Furthermore, from the 2022 competition, we've established a partnership with one of the winners to collaborate on the development of additional designs for future production.
Sharon Engnui, National MTV News.
The 880 submissions of designs from over 380 artists and designers made through the Design PNG competition by the Jacks of PNG is a testament that PNG has a lot of people with great talent in arts and design that need exposure. This statement was made by the Chief Executive Officer of CPL when announcing 3 winners of the Design PNG competition today in Port Moresby.
Our we came this far.
With the primary aim of providing a platform for the exhibitions of the skills and the abilities of the local artists and designers, it was pleasing that the number of applications have increased to over 380, with 880 designs being submitted. CEO Raju has revealed that students have also shown interest in partaking in the competition, which clearly implies that there is a lot of talent that needs to be exposed.
We've got people from Sacred Heart Secondary School in Tapini, in Goilala district. It's even more impressive that 17 students, as low as grade 9, took part in the competition. So now we're starting to see our young school kids also taking part in the competition. And we can say that there's a lot of talent there. A lot of brilliant designs coming out, and unfortunately for us, we can only have 3 winners because that's how this competition is designed. But
CEO Raju says it's a testament to this competition, which provides a platform for these designers to showcase their skills, their creativity, regardless of their age and their background, in the hope that this will inspire young generations to pursue their passion and showcase their talents in various fields. He further encouraged for more participants for the next competition, which will be launched soon. Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
More than 1,000 students attending the St. Michael Primary School at the Hanwabada village in the nation's capital, including their teachers, are in need of proper classrooms. In recent years, lack of classrooms has affected the students to learn well, as they have been using the deteriorated buildings. Board chairman of the school, Ted Mayer, says they are in dire need of new classrooms.
Most of our infrastructure are not in the state that it should be. And it's very sad to see the poor state that it is at the moment. The 1,100 students that we have are actually sitting in a place where that is not, or the environment is not viable for them or suitable for them to learn. But regardless of that, our aim here is to provide a learning or a school for them to learn.
In the interest to combat dental health issues in Port Moresby, especially among children, Koki Elementary and Primary School in Port Moresby today witnessed the launching of the YWAM Dental Trailer Program. The launch saw in attendance from NCDC Governor's Office, the NCD Provincial Health Authority, the NCD Education Division and YWAM and partners, whose collaboration resulted in this initiative.
YWAM Port Moresby Campus Manager Matt Scott thanked all partners involved for finally carrying out the dental trailer program since its pilot program in 2019. He expressed that while the YWAM ships continue to serve rural PNG, the trailer is more focused in Port Moresby.
YWAM Medical Ships has been operating here in Papua New Guinea for over 13 years now. Mostly just with our ship that we operate around the coast of Papua New Guinea, going to remote areas. But it's a real joy to be launching this program today and to be putting some focus on Port Moresby and to be putting some focus on oral health care and the importance of that, especially in our schools.
City Manager Frank Ravu congratulated the wisdom of the NCD Governor Poes Pakop in ensuring that this important program, of which the country lacked health assistance in, is pushed through to take place. He emphasized on the importance of this launch.
And the relevant awareness in schools ceased many years ago and has been an occasional arrangement by schools on their own, and today revives this very important service for the good health of our children.
The city manager affirmed that 300,000 kina had been allocated to YWAM by the National Capital District for this initiative for this year.
I thank the NCD Education Division, the NCD PHA, and of course YWAM for partnering NCDC on this endeavor, and I am encouraged by the strength of this partnership to achieve the healthiest city outcome of the NCDC board. So to our commitment to health, NCDC is committing 300,000 kina, which is for YWAM in this program.
The dental trailer will be providing service to Koki Elementary and Primary School starting today and to the following 8 days. After Koki Primary, the YWAM dental trailer and the YWAM team expect to visit 5 other schools in Port Moresby. Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
Port Moresby, including other parts of the country, launched a major immunization activity program today. The Western Highlands Provincial Health Authority today launched the measles, rubella and polio supplementary immunization activity program for the province at Pope's Oval in Mount Hagen. The call now is for parents in all districts to take their children to their nearest health facilities, which will be visited by health officials soon, some starting tomorrow.
The supplementary immunization activity is a nationwide campaign by the Health Department and stakeholders following recent outbreak of measles and polio in some parts of the country, posing risks to the lives of infants and toddlers. From health officials in Mount Hagen, more than 80,000 children from Western Highlands Province, ranging from infants to 5 years of age, have missed out on immunization in the recent years. This was due to COVID-19 and the national general elections, affecting movement of people since 2020. All parents in Western Highlands Province as well as other parts of the Highlands are being urged to spread the message for parents to take their children to the nearest hospital once word is out that immunization teams would visit. It was also clarified that any form of documentation was not required, as it is understood that some villages had no medical record books for their children. People were also urged to understand that the immunization program is not related to any form of illegal injections as rumored by misinformed people. It was highlighted that the supplementary immunization activity is a program to save the lives of the children who are the future of this nation. Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
And now taking a look at the Nest Fund market report, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.2840 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.2765 US, $0.4064 Australian dollars, $0.2433 euro, 36.89 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York closed, gold is trading higher. Coffee closed higher, cocoa closed higher, copra closed higher, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading higher, and copper closed higher. On the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading higher. National EMTV News continues after the break with more stories. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. Moving to overseas news now. An estimated 20,000 guests attended the King's coronation that was held yesterday at the Windsor Castle.
Well, yesterday was solemn in many parts at Westminster Abbey. This is the fun part, and I can hear Lionel Richie has just taken to the stage here at Windsor Castle. The East Terrace has been transformed. They've built a huge stage, and thousands of ticket holders have joined senior royals there. There was a big cheer for the King and Queen as they took their place in the stands. Now, the concert, it's more than 2.5 hours of entertainment for the people who are lucky enough to be here. It started with DJ Pete Tong, who was performing Feel the Love. That was actually a song that the King has apparently specifically requested be played tonight. Since then, we've heard from Ollie Murs, Nicole Scherzinger, the Coronation Choir. Even Miss Piggy has made an appearance, and as I say, Lionel Richie is on stage. Katy Perry is due to take to the stage as well. More than a few people here said that she was the draw card, perhaps more than the King tonight. Speaking of the crowd, there is a great atmosphere, and while there are a lot of monarchists in the crowd that we spoke to earlier today, there were more than a few people who said that, look, it doesn't really personally interest them, but this event, they think, is just a great opportunity to bring everyone together.
The Canadian province of Alberta is declaring a wildfire emergency as fires continue to spread.
A small, terrifying glimpse of a major disaster that's ripped through 300,000 acres of land, the equivalent of more than 200,000 football pitches. Some of the many people who fled their homes have reportedly had to do so by boat or helicopter. Alberta is also a major oil-producing region, though so far no oil facilities appear to be in immediate danger.
There's a huge fire load in the province right now. As you've seen, we have fires on the sort of central portion. We have fires in the north. It's just an indication of the conditions that we're seeing. Temperatures have been 10 to 15 degrees above normal for a little while now. We still don't have green grass and leaves.
Look at these satellite images. Smoke streams across the landscape. The flames have been fanned by high winds during this hot, dry spring. The region's been hit by wildfires before, but increasingly extreme weather worldwide is linked to climate change, sparking fresh waves of danger and destruction.
The Disability Royal Commission is drawing to a close after 4 years, with one of its final public hearings to be held this week.
More than 10,000 people have shared their stories through public hearings, submissions or private sessions. This week the Commission will examine a Queensland case of abuse and neglect towards 2 young people with disabilities and whether enough was being done to protect their human rights. Advocates are hoping the 4-year inquiry has shown the wider community mistreatment of people with disability is not historic and is still happening.
Russian officials have started evacuating people that are living near a Ukrainian nuclear plant.
We know is that the Russian army have decided to evacuate the area around the nuclear plant, 18 different villages. One of the problems is that they are the staff who normally work at the nuclear facility. It's obviously problematic anyway to have Europe's major nuclear plant right at the front line of any war, let alone between Russia and Ukraine. So the IAEA is very concerned about why the Russians might be doing this, and they say that their staff, they still have a team inside the plant, are hearing shelling every day. So basically the concern is that a shell or more will hit the nuclear plant. However, 10 months ago it was disabled, so it's not actually working, but all the nuclear material is still there and needs to be actively cooled. Rafael Grossi has said it's crucial that the two sides immediately say we will not conduct any war, any fighting anywhere near that nuclear facility. Essentially, it's a no-go zone because of the danger involved. He's saying there's a very serious risk of a nuclear accident and all of the consequences that involves for both the population and the environment. This, of course, is a country too that 30 years ago had the horror of the Chernobyl nuclear plant. So it's a country that is fearful of an accident.
You're watching National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Professional Australian golfer Lachlan Barker has claimed the 2023 PNG Open Golf crown with prize money of 77,000 kina yesterday at the Royal Port Moresby Golf Club.
This big win marks his first as a professional golfer, and the newly titled champion Lachlan Barker, following his crowning, announced that the win adds a lot to his professional career.
Well, this is the first event of our season, and getting a win locks in my job for the next 2 years, really, so adds a sigh of relief, and the money's a great help as well. But yeah, I'm just going to keep playing golf where I am on Aussie Tour.
The man behind the scenes in ensuring that both players and golf enthusiasts enjoy the tournament, Josh Dixon, the general manager for Royal Port Moresby Golf Club, highlighted on Baka's performances leading up to his inaugural crowning.
Crowned the 2023 PNG Open champion, Lockie Baka from South Australia. Shot an awesome 14 under. Held on for the first few days, picked it up yesterday and then came home on the back nine today. So, yeah, cracking effort and awesome to crown.
Also crowned during the occasion saw Morgan Anato, who bagged the amateur category 2023 title. Guest of honor Prime Minister James Marape congratulated both winners for a job well done.
Congratulations to the winner of this tournament, both the amateurs as well as the professional competition. There's only one who will emerge as the winner in the overall, but at the end of the day, golf in Papua New Guinea and golf in general has won for this weekend.
Meanwhile, Baka left the country today for Thailand, where he will be competing in several events before leaving for the United States of America to compete in his other international events. Lisa Punichukai Sports.
Hot favourites in the 2023 National Rugby League competition, the EMK Sepik Pride were defeated by the Guest Resources Central Dabaris yesterday afternoon. The Dabaris signalled a 22-18 winning margin, registering their third win in the season.
It was an unsuccessful afternoon for the EMK Sepik Pride as they were defeated by the Guest Resources Central Dabaris by 22-18 points at full time. The match, which was evenly contested, saw both outfits put up impressive performances in the opening minutes. The pride of the Greater Sepik proved that there were no visitors at the Santos National Football Stadium when they opened the icebreaker try to take the lead with 4 points at the 20th minute. But the Dabaris Edge fought back just 7 minutes later to grab the lead with a successful conversion as the scores on screen transformed to 6-4 in favor of the Dabaris side. The Pride did not back down as they strived harder to claim the first half lead with only 12 points as the Dabaris trailed by 10 points. The upsurge of defenses increased in intensity as both teams handled each other, struggling to claim the win, but the Guest Resources-sponsored outfit were too good in their ball tricks and speed, which saw them claiming the win with 22 points as the Sepik Pride lost with 18 points. A not so satisfied yet optimistic Dabaris head coach Steve Gunua shared his thoughts on the match following their win.
The team performance for today's game was the boys are improving from the last 3 games, so I'm a bit satisfied with the game. But next week we're gonna play against Rubber Gorillas. We need to improve more on some areas that needs to be improved.
Could you highlight on the areas of improvement that
to complete the set rates that the boys normally used to do. They're a bit slow in the set completion.
Gunua added that the team will focus at their set range ahead of round 5, where they will take on the Egmak Rabaulgurias this weekend in their second away game of the season. Lisa Punichukai Sports.
And Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. Following the SPPNG Hunters back-to-back win of the season where they defeated the Ipswich Jets, over the weekend the club underwent their pool recovery session at the Koroboro International School this afternoon.
A very lucky afternoon for the Koroboro International School students and its teaching staffs and officials as they were fortunate to witness the SPPNG Hunters undergo their pool recovery session on their grounds. Koroboro International School Principal Peter O'Sullivan says this is a great opportunity for not only students who partake in sporting activities, but the school as a whole to experience a first-hand glance of what goes on behind the scenes for the Hunters.
Today, it's a really privilege for Koroboro International School to be able to open its doors, to have the SP Hunters here, and for enabling our children to have some exposure to what goes on behind the scenes for a Saturday's match and all the preparation that's required. We're actually getting first-hand experience today, so it's something that we feel really honoured to be able to see, and we hope that we can form further bonds with the SP Hunters as they move towards more community service.
Commercial manager of the SPPNG Hunters, Alan Moramoro, who was on site to oversee the pool recovery, shared that this is the start of the Hunters' engagement with the community and they look forward to doing a lot of that starting this season.
The SPPNG Hunters want to get more involved in schools. This is the first step. Getting involved with Koroboro International. They were kind enough to have us here for a pool recovery session. And it's also to get the students familiar with the players. We've been away for 2 years now, so it's good to have the players going out into the schools and the communities so the public and the kids know who are playing for their team.
Moramoro further added that their upcoming home games for the season will see the Cat and Racer match being offered to NCD schools or rugby teams and Port Moresby Rugby League affiliated clubs in action prior to the Hunters games. Meanwhile, come Friday, the 12th of May 2023, the SPPNG Hunters will head to Queensland, Australia, where they will take on the Townsville Blackhawks in round 9 of the QRL Host Plus Cup. Lisa Puni, Chukai Sports.
And that ends Chukai Sports, the Money Plus. Weather report is next. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby, possible evening showers and thunderstorm. Popondetta, cloudy periods with some showers and possible thunderstorm. In the Momase region, Lay, evening rain showers and thunderstorm. Vanimo, rain showers and possible thunderstorm. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, few showers and possible thunderstorm. Buka, possible brief evening showers and partly cloudy. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, few showers and thunderstorm. Mendi and Wabeg, few showers and possible thunderstorm.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Monday, the 8th of May, 2023. From the entire news team, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.